Ask and it is given, they say. But what if you ask and it doesn't show up? Then you need to align with the higher vibration of what you want, we are told. But if it still doesn't show up, are you asking the wrong way or the wrong question? And how can you possibly know if you're aligned with higher vibrations? In this video, I'll answer all those questions and one more big one, which is, how can you keep your vibrations high when you're anxious, worried, or even desperate? Stay tuned. The answers are coming in the next few minutes. Hi, I'm Trevor. My journey with manifesting began over 30 years ago when my personal life seemed to fall apart. My marriage ended and left me not only as a big emotional puddle of confusion and with a huge dent in my self-esteem, but also a massive financial hole to escape from. I was already a trained psychotherapist, but I didn't think the answers were in there. And then I discovered metaphysics, which claims we create our reality with our thoughts and beliefs. A lovely idea, but oh boy, what a minefield it turned out to be. Nowadays, my life is wonderful. I have a great marriage, money flows easily to me, and I do what I love and only what I love. The key, it turned out, is effortlessness, not techniques or reciting affirmations or burning incense or anything of that nature. I now have a club for anyone interested to discover more about this down-to-earth approach to creating the life of your dreams. It's called the Law of Attraction Demystified Club, and there's a link at the top of the description if you'd like to know more about it and how you can join. Now, I may not subscribe to woo-woo strategies for manifesting, but the phrase, ask and it is given, is so basic and repeated throughout so many different texts, religions and philosophies that for me, that's the baby that does not get thrown out with the bathwater. The problem is, we're not given any more instruction. How should we ask? How often should we ask? And what are we supposed to do when the thing we're asking for is not given? In other words, why don't things show up when I ask? There's also the question of who or what we're asking. Is there some kind of divine giver out there? Are religious beliefs required here? What if you don't believe there's something out there? Boy, these are a lot of questions from one simple instruction. Let's repeat it. Ask, and it is given. There is no other instruction. What if that's on purpose? Not to befuddle with how or how often questions, but because it is that simple. What if it just is that simple? What if we're supposed to take it literally? Let's play with that idea. Ask. Apparently, just once. There's no instruction to keep repeating it. As for how we're supposed to ask, well, maybe that's down to each of us as individuals. To my mind, there's an assumption behind the notion of asking. It's this: we don't ask for things unless we're aware of something missing. Take babies. They're happy, either sleeping or awake and playing, until some discomfort, such as hunger or an uncomfortable bottom, disturbs them. Then they ask. I think that translates into grown-up asking too. I mean, we may want things for different reasons. It could be a luxury holiday, or a new car, or even a new lover. But the basic idea of I've noticed discomfort is still the trigger, right? That's all you need. You notice that something's missing or a bit off in your life. There's no need to go into a frenzy or a depression about it. Noticing is one of our human powers, but what we tend to do is then start thinking about how miserable we are without whatever it is. If it's money, the misery might take the form of worry and anxiety because you can't pay for stuff. If it's a person, the misery will be loneliness or beating yourself up with thoughts about your low self-esteem. You and I both know that none of that will help, and all the law of attraction teachings say that that kind of energy is counterproductive to manifesting. What's the way out then? Well, let's go back to the instruction. Ask. As soon as you've noticed, just have the intention that the way to change this lack or discomfort can and will be found. Asking sets the intention. You've done it. However, because we're so conditioned to go into that blizzard of negative thinking, especially because we want to know how it's going to change as well as when, I'm going to break slightly with my tradition here and suggest a technique. Please understand, I'm not saying that this will cause your manifestation, but it won't block it, which all your doubts and negative thinking will. These are the kinds of topics we deep dive into in the Law of Attraction Demystified Club, so do make sure you check that out by clicking the link in the description. Remember, ask and it is given. There's nothing in between, no gap, no technique for you to practice, no universal deity to appease. Ask and it is given, period. Yet for some reason it doesn't seem to work like that for most of us, although apparently it should. Maybe that's because, as I said, most of us go, ask, and when can I have it, and how is it going to get here? Because honestly, I don't see how that's even possible. Look, I'm not here to convince you one way or another about whether the law of attraction is a real thing or not. I presume you at least are open to the possibility that it might be, otherwise you wouldn't even be watching a video like this. But it's not the law or the absence of it that causes us such a problem. It's where things come from, the so-called universe. What do you believe about that? Is there, in your view, some higher intelligence that can provide absolutely anything, but which will also withhold it if you don't visualize precisely what you want or allow a negative thought to creep in? Because to my mind, not only would that be an incredibly fussy universe, but a pointlessly punitive one too. Suppose it's that it can and will always give you what you ask for, but if you try to take over and control how things turn out, then it's just going to assume that that's what you're asking for. You want to take control? You got it. We really struggle with this letting go thing, which is why I'm going to propose a technique. I'll tell you what it is in a minute. I love the story Michael Neal recalls in his wonderful book, The Inside Out Revolution. I may get the details slightly wrong, but it's the ending that helped me immensely with the letting go issue. I think he said he was, as I remember it, in conversation with a priest, a rabbi, and an atheist. They were discussing the existence or non-existence of God. Michael was not involved until they turned to him and asked his opinion. After a moment's thought, he said, "Well, all I know is that I'm not running the show." Isn't that such a relief? We're not running the show. You don't have to believe in anything to get the truth in that. My mind goes to, I don't know, bees and flowers, sunshine and rain, birth and death, and the recycling of everything. I think about the scientific principle that matter is neither created nor destroyed in the course of chemical action, which means every atom and subatom is already here and always has been. All that's going on is a constant rearrangement of patterns. And none of that is anything to do with me. I don't know how to grow my own fingernails, much less how to beat my own heart or circulate my own blood. And I don't have to. We're not running the show. It's not your job to manifest anything. The only part of your job is to ask. Doesn't matter how you ask. Doesn't matter if you visualize or if you can't make pictures in your head. Just ask. Once is enough. The intention is set and the universe has got the message. Manifestation is the universe's job. Whatever is running the show will do it. So now, without further ado, let me introduce this technique, whose only function, I hope you now realize, is to distract your mind from trying to take over. Here's what I suggest. You've noticed what you lack or is making you uncomfortable, and you've put out the notion that you'd like that to change. You've asked. Your job is done. Now, let your mind drift to what gives you the most joy about the thing fulfilled. Joy, because joyfulness is a fun and happy feeling, which, if you want to put it into law of attraction jargon, means you're raising your vibration. It could be anything. If it's a new house, it might be the feeling of sinking your naked toes into the plush new carpet with deep pile. If it's a person, maybe it's the heady scent of their perfume or aftershave as he or she kisses you goodnight. If it's a vacation, maybe it's the hostess's smile as she ushers you aboard the plane. That's all. No need to keep repeating it. There's no way you can do it wrong. It doesn't matter if you see pictures in your mind or not. The universe is not checking to make sure you filled in the form correctly. Notice that you are not required to work out or think about how that result came about. It's just not your job. Have I made that clear yet? You've asked. You've experienced the end result. Yes, maybe only for a second or two, but that's enough for the universe. The universe will now take over and fill in the steps. You will be guided. Your work is done. It's that simple, that effortless. I hope this has been helpful. Try it out. It works. Remember to check out the Law of Attraction Demystified Club if you like the kind of effortlessness and simplicity we've been exploring today. I've come to know that manifesting is as natural as breathing and just as easy. So do join us on the journey. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you very soon in another video.